Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Between the Pot and the Hard Place. I'm Stephen Colton.
And I'm Chris Kirkpatrick.
And I could not find the file for the show intro. It's here, but things are they're different. Things are laid out different. Oh, here we go. Okay. That was a weird intro. Did that after the intro, but
I know. I feel like though it doesn't feel like the start of our show without that little riff. So I'm glad you played it. You know, a lot of people may not realize that music was written by none other than Scott Schiaffo.
Yes, and it's funny. I don't have anything pulled up, but they're in production of Clerks 3 right now, and he just filmed his parts like a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I can't remember exactly the day, but it was so exciting to see him like kind of dressed up as that character again, and it was amazing. And I've actually off and on over the last few weeks have been reading. I have the screenplay book of Clerks.
Oh, you do?
And so I've been reading through it, yeah. The day I actually met Kevin Smith, he was here in town, and I was going to carry this with me to have him sign it, but I was like, oh, I won't meet him. I don't want to carry this around all day and lose it. And then I met him. So if you ever have books for people to sign kids, carry them with you everywhere.
Right. That said, you never know. I mean, I think if you were going to a con or you were going to specifically to see him speak.
Yeah, he was doing a show here, and it was like just a solo like stage show. Or it's a Q&A, but he takes 45 minutes to answer one question. So he answered like maybe one or two questions in that whole 2.5 hour show. But yeah, eating my Werther's again. But it was fun. I do have his autograph. I got it on something else, and I have another autograph for my Clerks comic that I ordered. And he had it signed, and it was here. And speaking of comics, though, I wanted to share these really quick. I know we had talked about it off the air or whatever, but yesterday I picked up these two great comic books.
Nice.
Death of Superman, which I've read many times over the years. And then this one I don't believe I've read through all the way, the Superman Doomsday, which I was like, wait a minute, which one came first? And I couldn't remember. See, Death of Superman was the first thing. This is like not the origin of Doomsday necessarily, but the whole story of Doomsday coming out and battling Superman. I'm about 80 pages in. I mean, just a quick look at this. I mean, how much fun is it to look? And it's that old like newsprint feel too, not the shiny.
Right. I will say I owned both of those comic books way back when, and they're really good.
Yeah, and I noticed too that Superman Doomsday is much thicker. This, it's the compilation of all the books in one collection. Much like that Superman was 7 issues, I believe, into one. But Superman Doomsday is so much thicker, and I don't think I've read this all the way through. But it's more this original. I don't know if this is what the original print or when it came out originally, but this reissue book, it's shiny, glossy pages and stuff like that, which I like kind of better because it seems like they last longer. But there's something to be said about those old newsprint feel books. It feels like you're in the 70s or whatever. But.
I mean, I've got to say there's something to be said for collecting all of the books for a series in one. It makes it a lot easier than trying to track down individual pieces.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of mine are. I had Flash Rebirth in one big, thick book, which I believe I got from a contest on YouTube on Pagey's channel. I entered one of the contests. It's like, what do you like about this or this? And you comment and everything, and boom, I was the winner. I was like, oh,
that's cool.
But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one, and I got these for $3.99 each.
Wow, that's cheap.
And yeah, because Superman Doomsday is like a $20 book, and so I'm excited about those. I also wanted to show off really quick my first Arrowverse action figure,
just in time.
And honestly, it's not like the quality of the figure, but her arm was broken. I got her out of the package. Now, a lot of collectors were like, how dare you open it? I love to open them. and I'm using Wonder Woman's stand on Supergirl because it seems more fitting to have her floating than Wonder Woman.
Right.
But her arm, I don't bend the elbow anymore because something about the plastic, sometimes this happens in figures, there's excess plastic on the joints and you bend them, it pops the joints out. And I could not, I tried for a whole 24 hours to get this arm back in the spot. Would not go, and I ran it under hot water to loosen up the plastic, popped it in. No, I'm just not going to bend that joint.
Yeah, just don't touch it.
I'm not going to sit here and like make them fight each other all day or anything. But it's so cool. Like the detail is awesome. Of course, this is from Supergirl. This is the early Supergirl figure. That's how old it is because she has a skirt, not the pants.
Yeah, I was going to say that. But clearly, that's an older one. But the detail is great.
Okay, I'm 5 years old again.
So I know some people probably freak out because of the idea that you took it out of the box. I personally am kind of on the fence. I feel like leaving it in the box, then you really can't enjoy it.
Right.
And so,
yeah,
it's like I collected comic books, and I made sure that I had the plastic sheeting and the paper backing. But I read all of those suckers. They weren't just simply for me to save. They were for me to enjoy. And I think that action figures are the same way that you could keep it, but man, I think you should enjoy it. Don't just keep it in the box. And
another thing that came with, people that like collecting figures or at least know a little bit about it know that some figures sometimes in different lines have build-a-figure parts where you have to buy the whole series of figures in order to build this other figure.
Right.
Well, Supergirl came with Doomsday's leg.
Oh, gosh.
So, I don't know.
You've got to find the rest of the pieces?
Yeah. I mean, I got to buy the other figures, and it's weird in this line. It's not just CW. It's in that line of figure, Supergirl was the only, like, Arrowverse figure. The rest of them were random, like some weird Batman and then, like, somebody else and nothing to do with each other. And that's how toy companies do. They'll release a wave of figures, of random figures. They don't want to send all of one set in one wave. They want to do it all separate, which is smart, I guess, because they want you to buy everything, especially with build-a-figure pieces.
So I guess the question is, would you go out and buy a figurine that you don't want on the chance that it might have a piece of one that you do need?
Well, if I saw that, say, like this was the last piece I needed, and it was in if it was in which character do I not like?
My Little Pony.
I mean, yeah, I guess if My Little Pony had Doomsday's leg,
right.
I mean, it would depend on the piece. If it was like if I had all the other ones and that was the last piece, I probably would buy it just to get it. But I'm not going to buy like a series of them just to get it. I would much rather pay a little bit more and go on eBay and buy the complete Build-A-Figure because people do that. They'll buy the doubles of these figures and keep the originals and then sell off and put the Build-A-Pieces together and sell that one figure. And so, I don't know. I guess it depends on the character. I mean, I would love to have that Doomsday.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up, and it was a really cool-looking figure. I mean, you imagine his other leg looks like this. So picture that is the same, and then Doomsday. And then I picked this up right after the Doomsday comic and then the Death Superman comic. So I think I'm meant to have the rest of this. I don't know. And if his leg is this big, I imagine what the rest of him is
right.
like.
It's got to be huge. Well, sure. I look forward to seeing it all come together.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Supergirl, and the amazing thing is, like, figures like this are generally about $20.
Right.
And this one I've been eyeing for a while, but I never saw it. I saw it once in the store when it first came out a few years ago. Didn't buy it. And then I was at the local Comic-Con a few months ago and saw an Oliver Queen. And I really wanted that, but I was kind of on a budget. So I was like, I'll walk around the con and come back. If I don't find anything else, I'll come back and get it. Totally forgot. And they also had, I think, Killer Frost, maybe. They had a Frost.
Really? Okay.
And they had, I really wanted to find a Reverse Flash. There's a really cool Reverse Flash figure that I want. But yeah, one day I'm going to start collecting again, which I'm collecting now, but I'm slowly buying. I'm a fan of this Joker figure. I mean,
that is cool.
$5.
Yeah, and that gun is ridiculous.
It is. I mean, like, and you know when he pulls that trigger, it's going to have a flag out that says "bang,"
right,
or whatever. And I don't really know what this is from. I know Batman, obviously, but I don't know what version of the Joker this is supposed to be. I think it might be one of the animated films or video games, possibly.
It looks a lot like the Jack Nicholson version.
It sort of does. You get a closer look at it. It's a little bit more cartoony, but I mean, he does resemble. Sorry, I'm getting too focused in on these figures.
You're getting all wrapped up in it.
I hate when you pick them up and they don't stand back up right.
Right.
Okay, so he's just going to lay down.
So I've got to say, you had brought up Supergirl, and you brought your figurine up. How do you feel about the fact that Supergirl just wrapped up filming its final episodes?
Honestly, in the beginning of everything, I'm like, I lost interest in Supergirl. But now that it's over, I'm like, oh, why? And I kind of want to go back and watch it all again, because the last episodes I did watch were, like we talked about a couple weeks ago or last week, when they go back in time and had that whole Smallville moment and all that stuff.
Right.
That was a really good episode.
Yeah.
And it made me really love the show again.
I think that there have been some really strong seasons in the past, and I still feel like season 1 was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think there have been some real highs and some real lows. The fact is that Supergirl really kind of paved the way for us having Superman and Lois have their own show. And I think that their involvement was really integral to the development of the Arrowverse. And so, I'm really sad about what they're leaving kind of means. It's gonna leave a big giant hole, I think. And I think their concern is just about what happens to those characters, right?
Yeah.
There she is.
Yeah.
I was hoping that when Black Lightning ended, that a lot of those characters from Black Lightning might end up seeing more of them on other shows. And we haven't heard anything. And as far as, Arrow, the only character we've seen pop up at all has been Diggle. And so I'm afraid that the same thing's going to happen when it comes to Supergirl. That show's going to end, and we're not going to see those other characters again.
I really think that Brainy and a couple of those people could be. I'm trying to adjust my microphone volume here.
Yeah,
I really think that Brainy, and maybe not just him, but a couple of those people could be on Legends. And I mentioned that before, but I wouldn't ride the whole season on them or anything being on it, but it'd be cool to see them pop up. That's the show to put them on, really. I mean, I think Martian Manhunter could be great on Flash, or Superman and Lois. Honestly, if anything, Superman and Lois would be more.
Yeah, I think that it would be awesome if he were to go and join that team. I think he would fit in really well. I think he's cool enough that he could probably have a team of his own.
Yeah, I mean, a Martian Manhunter series could work. Honestly, right. It could be like a prequel series and show his life on Mars. I think that'd be really interesting. Or
it would be,
or just have a modern day with flashback scenes of Mars.
David Harewood, though, the guy who plays Martian Manhunter, he's just fantastic. I really like what he brings to the character. So I'm sad to find out that, at least this portion of his character is over. He's made a couple of posts about, putting the costume away and most likely never putting it back on. And to me, that's really sad. My hope, I think, in the whole thing is that at least they tie up all the loose ends and give Kara and the show the kind of ending that it deserves.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'm hoping for, really.
And with Arrow too, Arrow, it was good, and a lot of people were upset about how it ended and stuff. It felt rushed and things like that because it was only 8 episodes, but they got to pick the way they wanted to go. That's what they wanted to do, and whether or not we like it, I mean, I thought it was good, but whether or not people like it in general, they got to choose how they wanted to go, and I always love that because when a show gets just straight up canceled, like Heroes. It ended on such a cliffhanger. I mean, if you cut off that last little bit in that last episode, the ending would have been fine for me. Where Claire, says, "Look at me, everybody! I'm super," and jumps off the Ferris wheel or whatever it was, and everybody sees her and not get hurt, and that was the end. That would have been great. But then they have to go off and say to be continued and all this other stuff, and it ruins it. But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that they're going to have a really good story, and it's going to be something big because a series end always has really big things like surprises or like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to die. You know that's going to happen. Like it just has to. Like somebody always dies in the end of a show.
So some of the released footage that I've seen shows Mon-El. It shows what else? Wynn back. Mm-hmm. So all of those characters from the Legion of Superheroes of the future end up coming back. And I think part of me goes, if the team were to end up getting transported into the future, that would almost be, I think, as fitting an end as we could ask for them. Yeah.
That would be cool because then, you won't see it. Or maybe there's a Legion show coming.
Yeah.
Or it could be. There could be a Legion of superheroes. Like that would be amazing.
I think that would be awesome. Some people are trying to, everybody has their opinions about what's going to happen, but there's been a lot of talk about some type of funeral scene.
Yeah.
And some people have, hinted that the funeral is for Kara, that Kara dies, and that's why the show is over. Man, I really don't want Supergirl to die.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say if they had the chance to do it like the comics, and they did, but they changed it to save Barry and Clark. Right. They both were, the comics in Crisis, they both died, and of course Barry comes back 25 years later. I don't know about Supergirl. I don't know if she ever comes back. I think she does, but different. I didn't really read Supergirl comics, so I don't really know too much of the history behind that. But they could still go back and do that again. Or there's some big epic thing and they borrow from that storyline and have Clark come in from, make an appearance, and because he's no stranger to that show, and have him holding her in that iconic scene. And that could happen. It very well could happen. And it would be great to see, but in a way it would be really sad to see.
I know that we're not there yet, but Stargirl comes back out this week as well.
In 2 days.
Yeah. And one of the characters in the Justice Society is Power Girl, which is their Earth's version of Supergirl.
Yeah.
Part of me goes, wouldn't it be awesome if, this version of Supergirl is over, but they end up introducing Power Girl in Stargirl.
I don't know I'm sure they have her cast already, right? And that's filmed and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to picture who she is. I haven't seen any images or any kind of news on it. I know the character is going to be there at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah. So what I will tell you, I was just looking at the IMDb for season 2, and a lot of the faces that are there for season 2 are people that we are already familiar with, right? We know that Luke Wilson is coming back as Pat. We know that Brooke Bensinger is coming back as Courtney, Stargirl. Yvette Monreal is Yolanda. Angelica Washington is Beth. And then, of course, Trey Romano is Mike Dugan. Amy Smart is Barbara, the mom.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, but they've also characters that they've got that are also coming back. We thought that that Brainwave and Brainwave Jr. we thought that they were dead, and apparently they're down for episodes. Our friend Eric Goins, who plays the Gambler, he's down for 9 episodes.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So and then there are a couple characters in there that I don't recognize, but just by the people that are there, I mean, I think that we're going to have some a pretty good story going on. It is. Yeah. It is one. I thought their season 1 was fantastic. As far as
it was amazing.
It was great. I thought they just did a great job, especially in being a young cast, which I think they needed that kind of youthful energy. And so Yeah, I'm really excited about them coming back. And now that they've already got one major battle under their belts, trying to see how they grow from there.
Mm-hmm.
Not just being, oh, we're just figuring out our abilities here, but how they really work on becoming a team.
And I'm excited to see Green Lantern's daughter, just to see how they do the effects of the Green Lantern stuff in TV. And I really feel like this could be like a trial to see how a character like that could work on, say, like CW. Because we know Green Lantern, our good friend Mark Guggenheim, has been working hard on the new Green Lantern series on HBO Max coming. I'm guessing maybe next year or later this year. I don't think they know yet, but that's a little bit different. HBO Max is more like a feature film type budget. Maybe not that much, but more than like a CW produced show. And I don't know, maybe we can see that because we've seen Stranger Things, which Stranger Things is coming back this year. No. We have seen like so many things on CW happen when they weren't allowed to happen, let's say a year before, because it worked good here. So let's go ahead and try it here. Oh, it works great. Let's continue this. That's how we got Stargirl, honestly.
Right.
Because Stargirl seems so much, I don't want to say better than all the CW shows, but more like a higher production value, if that makes sense. Like it seemed like it had that extra boost. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like it did.
It does seem that a lot of the newer shows that have been released, they have really put extra money into their CGI and everything else. So anyway, I'm really excited about that show coming back this week.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
I think that's taking the Flash time slot, if I'm not mistaken. Tuesdays at 8, I think.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Either 8 or 9, because it's on the 10th, so that means that would be Tuesday. But I don't know if it's 8 p.m. Eastern not Eastern, but it's 8 p.m. everywhere, or 9. It's one of those. But I don't know what else is coming back with it. I know Legends has been off for the whole Arrowverse took the last couple of weeks off.
Right. Superman and Lois is coming back this week too.
Yes. So I guess it'll be Superman and Lois and Stargirl until Superman and Lois ends.
Talk about an awesome night for comic book superheroes.
Two of the greatest shows. I mean, I got to the point where, and I still love The Flash. A lot of people have, I don't want to say abandoned The Flash, but fell out of love with it. I'm along that line, but like, I still like it. But when I was watching the show, I found myself going, commercial. Man, I can't wait for Superman and Lois. I was like, Flash was a commercial for Superman and Lois in my mind at that point. It was like, yay. Now, the last couple episodes were pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I really enjoyed the finale of Flash, but really waiting on more of that. I want to see Reverse Flash happen again, which raises, this is not going to be, we're not going to talk about this too much, but, we saw like Tom Cavanaugh was finished, comes back. I'll see you again, Flash. Goes away. I'm like, are you leaving or not? Like, make up your mind. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I've got to be honest and say that, and I know I'll get hate for it, but for me, whenever I watch The Flash, I feel like I'm kind of in mourning for the show that it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, we know what the show's capable of, right? We know that it's capable of a season 1, 2, or 3, and yet I think, unfortunately, this, last season it was the Mirrorverse, which I just couldn't get into, though, clearly, Iris did. She got into it hard. And I didn't like the way that story wrapped up. And I realized that COVID didn't do them any favors. Right. But I felt like it was the same kind of thing, the same kind of pitfall of kind of poor story writing and rather lackluster plot, and essentially two villains that were sort of underwhelming. I think that's really how I felt. Wasn't a big fan of Godspeed, and I found the forces to just not be all that great.
The forces I liked a little bit, but I think they just spent a little too much time on it and not enough on Godspeed. I like the idea of Godspeed and that story, No, I think in Flash Rebirth, it's Rebirth, or I think it's Rebirth, where in the comics where Godspeed is, born, essentially, like where he comes into the story. And he's a relatively new character. I mean, I think that the original story came out in maybe 2008 or something like that, or 2003, somewhere in there.
Right.
And I really liked the comic version, the way it happened. And it was similar to the show where, there was a big speed storm in the comics, and all these people they had speedster powers. Random people in the streets, this, that, and they had this school where they were teaching all these speedsters. Sorry, I saw something in the window. I was like, what is that? It's a ghost. No, it's just the wind. But yeah, they had all these speedster powers, and Godspeed was there, and it was like he could copy himself. And that's kind of what we were seeing on the show. And it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I understand what they're doing, but it was so like crunched in the last really literally 4 episodes. Or 5 maybe, but that's all they had. And it really needed at least 6 to 10 episodes, I think, for that storyline to really work. But
yeah, it just seemed very, I realize we're talking about speedsters, but it seemed very rushed.
Yeah. Yeah, it really did. I mean, you didn't get a chance to really understand August Hart and who he was. And we don't know, was he still from the future? Was he not? Like, I can't remember if they even clarified that or not. I think he was from the future. But either way, it's like we didn't get a chance to know the character. There was no betrayal. There was no sense of like, oh, you turned your back on us. How dare you? Like, there was nothing there.
But there was an epic lightsaber battle.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, I mean, there was a quote from a Kevin Smith movie, the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in 2001, where they have a scene in that movie where there's essentially lightsabers.
Right.
And then they're doing that goofy lightsaber battle, and at the end, it was who was it? Was it Chris Rock? I think was in there. And he's like, George Lucas gonna sue somebody. And I was watching that episode of The Flash, and I was thinking the same thing because they were lightning sabers, but still, it was like really a 3-way lightsaber battle. It's like you couldn't have like come up with like lightning gun where you go and shoot out lightning from your fist. That'd have been cooler, but. That's my thought. I was like, George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Yeah.
Because well, not anymore, but Disney gonna sue somebody.
It seemed like the entire episode they were pushing these abilities that we had never seen. Right? Yeah. Like Jay Garrick taking off his hat and throwing it and it doing sort of like Captain America's shield action. Yeah. Or we had Bart Allen who's like throwing, stars.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Right. Or Nora and her whip, her force whip.
Or Iris at all.
Right. Iris. Yeah. All of that. So they were really playing up this idea about giving them extra powers. And I don't know why that bothered me so much.
I think it was a little rushed. Like, and it kind of comes down to a big part of it where it's like, they didn't do this, and all of a sudden, like, oh, by the way, I can do this. I don't know why I'm holding this leg, but you can do that. Like, and you can do this. And, I wonder if Jay's helmet is made of vibranium, because... And I keep thinking, like, dude, that's not even your helmet. You stole that from Hunter Zolomon.
Right.
Zoom.
Right.
Like, it's not even yours. Like, it was his dad's, but then probably in the new Earth. And we still never got answers as to how Jay and his wife were on Earth Prime. I was really hoping the finale would tell us, like, hey, you're from Earth Prime now. How could that have happened? Because, well, I think Corey mentioned it a few weeks ago. We were like, okay, he can't be from Earth because it blows my mind. It's like a time travel Savitar loop all over again where Jay Garrick exists in Earth Prime where Henry Allen, who is his doppelganger, also existed. I don't know. It's hopefully Stargirl shed some light on that.
I hope so too. I think that again we have to really blame the Spectre, right? We really have to blame Oliver Queen for how he rebooted the universe and
messed up
and messed it up, and yeah, I think maybe very well intentioned, trying to bring people back, right? Jay had sacrificed himself during Crisis. It only made sense that we bring him back and that he would kind of get his own happy ending You know, Barry's dad had essentially lived his life in prison, only to get out of prison and then die.
Yeah,
and
right away.
So to see a version of him where he's happily married with the love of his life, I mean, I think that's about as second a chance as we could hope.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know if Jay is supposed to be his dad or if something happened off screen that we didn't see, where he escapes to Earth Prime at the end of Crisis, or because they don't know at this point. Like, at least the core characters on the Flash don't know that there's a new multiverse, and it was really none of the characters except for Diggle, because even he didn't know, because when he met John Henry Irons, he was like, "Wait, other Earth," and he was like kind of confused. It's like, how did that happen?
Well,
so nobody,
I think the point is that for all of them, what they know is that all of the Earths that they had been familiar with were destroyed, and that their Earth is the only one left. They don't realize that not only has their Earth been saved and that it's been consolidated, but there are other Earths that are out there that are brand new.
Mm-hmm. The Corey says after Crisis, on Batwoman there were two Beths and they went crazy. So how were there multiple Jays or Norths? That is true. Like they did address that a little bit, but then they kind of dropped that. The two Beths were cool, and I think maybe that's why. Maybe Jay Garrick did exist this whole time in this new timeline on Earth Prime, but he's not going crazy and like disappearing all Marty McFly hand disappearing because Henry Allen's not there.
Right.
He's gone. So that's
I really believe that they had two Beths on the show in Batwoman that to create a character foil. They were trying to show us that Beth had the potential, right? That she had the potential to be good, given different circumstances. And so I believe that's the reason for it. They played with the doppelganger thing, ultimately killed her off, to play with the idea that she could, given the right situation, jump,
and it ultimately
switch sides.
It ultimately did work, because at the end of Batwoman season 2, we saw Beth kind of come back. We were like, "Oh, look, it's Beth again," and she's good. She had to go to prison now forever, but she's like kind of redeemed in a sense, which I thought that was going to happen. I hate to say it was that predictable, but like it didn't happen the way I thought necessarily. Right. But I was hoping that would happen, and maybe season 3 could be. I still don't know about the whole Kate Kane thing. If it's like if you're going to have her drop off anyway, then leave her dead or leave her missing. Because
I think the problem had been the fact that with Ryan Wilder, she really was stuck in limbo. She had found the suit and she wore it and she refused to give it up, but she never really felt like it was hers. And then Kate comes back just long enough to say, "I don't want it. You've earned it. You keep it. I'm going to go look for Bruce. You'll probably never see me again, but enjoy being Batwoman." And I feel like that was the baton toss that she needed. But I don't know. I feel like Kate Kane was such an integral part of the story, and she was the paragon of courage. The fact that she's going to just up and walk away from the city that she served, to me that just seemed it seemed strange. But frankly, they've needed to go after Bruce. I think my question is, why send Kate by herself with no resources? Why not have the entire team go look for Bruce?
I'm sure now that Kate Kane's alive and she's there and the world knows she's not dead, she still has like her financial resources and gadgets, things like that, whatever she may need. She could just call up like, hey Luke, send me $1 million and a jet over here. I think I found Bruce. Okay. And then, I'm sure that's going to go on. But I mean, You're right. Like she kind of like just leaves, and she has this courage to be Batwoman and stand because even she was unsure. The same thing.
Yeah.
When she took Bruce's suit, and she's like, everybody was mad. They said it was all feminist and stuff. It's like, oh, it needs to fit a woman, and because she was a woman. That's. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think. Anyway, I don't want to go into all that, but the same kind of thing where she like finally came in her own, and was like, I'm Batman. I'm Batwoman. I have the courage now, but you know what? Never mind. Or does it take more courage to walk away and hand it over to someone else who might be more fitting for it? I think that might take a little bit more courage to be like, oh, you deserve it more. You're here fighting for it. And I don't know. I kind of want to go find Bruce. And so I'm going to step away and let you have my entire world because I think you will do more with it. I don't know. I think that's a good story, but we'll see what happens in season 3 eventually. I'm excited because hopefully by that point we're going to get to talk to a few of those people. I'm
hoping so too. I feel like we've got our foot in the door.
Yeah,
we just got to pry it all the way open.
Waiting to hear back from a few things, and still excited. But we still have Jordan Elsas coming on.
We do.
At the end of the month.
Do. That's going to be like the shiny, ruby in our crown. I think.
Right. What else is new? Not new necessarily. I just watched. It has nothing to do with CW or characters, but I've been watching a lot of movies lately because when we had Jay and Todd on, they told us about what was the app? I forget the name of the app now. Was it Letterboxd or something like that? I use it. I use it all the time, but I don't remember the name of it. It's sad. But where you log your movies that you watch, I've been using it nonstop.
Yeah.
Ever since that was 2 weeks ago or something like that. I've been using it constantly. I'm watching movies just to go on there and like add to the link. I watched, of course, Northwood Pie. I watched Northwood Pie. I watched Clerks 2. I watched a movie. I've watched movies I haven't seen in a long time. Being at the airport, I've wanted to watch movies that feature airports. So I started watching
Airplane.
I need to watch that one. And I need to watch another Tom Hanks movie where he flies the plane in Sully, where he flies the plane and lands it on the water. I need to watch that one. I haven't seen that at all. I've never actually seen that one.
You could do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing was like I was in the airport working. I started working in a little retail space in the airport. It's fun. It's not hard. It's it's interesting for sure. And you see the planes taking off all the time. Huge window. You see planes pushing back and then taking off. It's really cool. And I started thinking of all these movies that they had planes in and airports and all this stuff. So I've just been watching movie after movie. And I had this urge to watch She's Out of My League. It's like the romantic comedy. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
And so I used to own it. I don't know where it's at. Can't find the DVD. I'm looking all over. I call up my mom because I lived over there a few years ago, back in 2012 to 2014. She doesn't have it. I was like, well, where is this movie? And then I finally find it streaming on, might have been YouTube or something for free. And I've noticed they've been doing that with YouTube. They've been adding legit, not bootlegged, but legit YouTube movies with ads, which I'm fine with ads.
Yeah.
I watched that, and I was like, oh, I love this movie. Because the first time I watched that movie, I was actually on a date.
Oh, really?
This girl was like, hey, go out with me. Let me take you to the movies. And it was just like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. Okay. And it's a good date movie. And then I watched The Terminal with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Wonderful movie. I don't think that movie gets enough credit because the whole time it's like I always saw that movie as Castaway, which I watched yesterday. I saw that Terminal as like Castaway in an airport terminal because he literally can't leave, can't do anything. All of his resources are depleted. He has nothing, and he has to find ways to survive. And that's cool. I love that movie so much. And then of course I watched Castaway, which was really a FedEx commercial.
It was.
I mean, the whole entire first 30 minutes of that movie was like FedEx.
And Wilson.
Yeah, that's so sad every time. He picks the ball up and throws it. It gets it, and like he's finally drifting away on the raft that he built, and then Wilson falls away and dies, basically.
Wilson, I'm sorry.
And there's literally like this 30-second sequence of like him just laying on the raft, bawling his eyes out like his parents just died. And it was so touching, and it was like, dude, it's a volleyball. But I think that volleyball represented his girlfriend and his freedom and his life and his happiness. And that was the last thing holding him back to that. And then it was gone. So it was like, oh. And then he gets back and he's excited. And then his whole life is ripped away from him yet again. That movie hits you so hard. And it's a good movie. Always bugs me, though, because I never know what's in that box. And they never tell you. He almost opens it, but he never does. And I've heard rumors that FedEx did a commercial back in the time when the movie came out that it was a parody of the movie. And this guy delivers a box to a girl. It's a FedEx package. He delivers it to her. He's like, I just want you to know this package saved my life. And he's like, but I have to ask, what's in it? And she's like, rips it open. He's like, oh, nothing. Just a satellite phone, GPS locator, a fishing rod, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, if that's what was in that box the whole time, that would have been insane.
It would have been awesome. Somebody needs to like rewrite that as an extra scene. I think what I like about Castaway is that idea about, the concept you can never really go back home.
Yeah.
Right. He survives. He comes back, and everybody thinks that he can just jump right back into it again. And he realizes that, life kept on going while he was gone. And the woman that he had thought about all that time, though she had never forgotten about him, she had gotten married and had kids. And, and so for him, he had to let go of, just like he had to let go of the island piece by piece before he was rescued. In the same way, he had to kind of let go of his vision of the old life. So
we started all over. It was sad. I keep forgetting there's comments. Terminal. Yep, great movie. And then Sully. I hear Sully is great. So I gotta watch it. You haven't seen it?
No,
I've never seen it. I don't know why. I just sometimes there's movies that I see that are there, and I'm like, I want to see this, but I never do.
Yeah, he does a really great job of playing Sully and telling that story.
I liked what was it called?
Apollo 13.
That was. I think I need to rewatch that one. I might have seen that as a kid, but the Mr. Rogers film, Welcome to My Neighborhood.
Oh
whatever. I have that somewhere too, and that was really good. I was surprised how well that was done. But Tom Hanks is really great.
He's fantastic. And talk about a guy who's had a long career and consistently does good movies.
Yeah, he's like
Forrest Gump.
Oh my gosh. That's probably his big breakout. Like, not breakout. He was famous an actor before that, but for me as a kid or as a movie fan, that's the thing that really pushed me into like, oh my gosh, I like him. And then Toy Story happened, and then all these other things happened. I know there were films way before, Forrest Gump, like Big and like all these other
Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, movies that I've seen, but movies that I haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
I think I started liking him more once he started doing these other more serious movies.
Right.
Like Forrest Gump, like the Castaway, all that kind of stuff. And how messed up is it that like his girlfriend's new husband was also his dentist at one point?
Right.
I forgot about that detail until last night. I was like, wait a minute.
All right. Well, I don't think either of us had thought we were going to start talking about Tom Hanks.
No, I mean, like, because now I'm thinking, is Tom Hanks linked to anything superhero related? I mean,
not that I know of.
It was just a random.
Though I do consider Forrest Gump to be a superhero.
I mean, he really is. Honestly, He would. I'm surprised he wasn't in the Olympics in that movie or in.
He was. He was in the Olympics.
Was he? Oh, that's right. Was he the ping pong?
The ping pong. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
So I don't know if he went in the Olympics, but I know that he ended up getting sent to China to play again. Went to the White House again.
Tom Hanks likes to do movies that have a theme of not forgetting life and its purpose.
Absolutely.
And that really goes along, especially Toy Story 2. Like that theme goes along. It's like always remember until Toy Story 4. Spoilers,
right?
I'm not gonna say it, but because some people out there might not have seen Toy Story 4 yet. I don't know, but I just didn't like it as much.
You're worried about spoilers?
No, not really.
No.
Forky, I hate Forky. If anybody's seen Toy Story 4, Forky's just an abomination.
Creepy.
Yeah, and then the ending is just like Woody just decides, like, oh, forget these kids and their happiness, imagination. I'm gonna live my own life. You're a toy. You're a child's plaything. But she's real.
Whatever you got to tell yourself.
She's saying something, but I don't speak Kryptonian.
No.
That would be my luck. Toy comes to life, it speaks Kryptonian. But that did always bug me in Toy Story, though, that the toys could talk, and, like, at night I wonder, like, do these figures come to life and, like, plot, like, I'm going to get you, stuff like that, ha ha ha. And then I wake up and they go, oh, crap, let's go back to the spot we were in. And, like, they lay down again. Why was it such a big deal for the toys to let anyone see them be alive?
Well, I think that people would freak out if your toys started talking and having minds of their own. You'd probably freak out. Maybe you might break them. People, yeah, people. When people don't understand things, right? They fear them.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's easier to hide than to risk being discovered. And that's at least the way that I see it.
I think it would have been interesting, though, at least in at one point in the films, to have the toys be alive to the kids, but yet when the kids were like, "Mom, look," and holds the toy up, it's just laying there, like that way you could contemplate whether or not it was the kid's imagination bringing them to life, or if they're really alive.
I think they're playing with the idea of, how often have people had like dolls in a room and you could just swear that their eyes are watching you? I mean, I think it's sort of that play a little bit that sometimes your imagination runs wild. You know that it's not alive, that it's not really looking at you, and yet, your mind plays tricks on you. So I think that's a lot of it.
Just in case, I'm going to turn her around.
There we go. We got to creep us out. So there are definitely two things that I want to make sure we talk about while we're here. I had an opportunity to watch the second Suicide Squad movie yesterday.
Okay.
And I know you haven't seen it. What I will tell you is, first and foremost, that it's directed by James Gunn, same guy who did the Guardians of the Galaxy. So, you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I love Guardians. I didn't watch those for the longest time until I got Disney Plus for the first time, and people were like, "Watch Guardians, watch Guardians." I'm like, no, I don't know those characters. I'm not gonna like it. I watched it, and I'm like, this is awesome. It had that kind of like Legends of Tomorrow vibe.
It did,
and it was really fun.
Right. I do believe that similar kind of vibe. There is it's very kind of music driven as far as the. Okay. I think definitely more so than the first movie.
Whoops, sorry.
But it's also a darker take on it. It has a very strong R rating.
Okay.
And so you watch it and it's very evident that they're doing sort of a Deadpool treatment. Mind you, any team called the Suicide Squad, you got to expect some gore and some death. But they certainly up that quite a bit. And I think what was interesting to me was that the characters that I ended up falling in love with and making a connection with, and there was a couple of scenes where my daughters were yelling at the TV, right? So the characters specifically that I didn't expect, like I didn't think that I would have an emotional connection with King Shark.
Okay.
I had seen other versions of King Shark, like on The Flash.
Right. Yeah.
And he was scary and powerfully strong and terrifying, but not particularly endearing. And yet here in Suicide Squad, they really did a great job of making us feel, sympathetic to this, massively powerful, you don't know whether you're a teammate or a snack when King Shark is around.
Okay,
And yet there was a sweetness about him. And then a character that most people probably aren't very familiar with is Ratcatcher.
Okay, yeah.
Who I had never heard of, but Ratcatcher pops up, and she really, you're almost like, what is this character doing on this team? She is sweet and optimistic, and she's like the little ray of sunshine on the group. It's played by Daniela Melchior, who's not someone that I'm familiar with as an actress, but she is fantastic. I mean, I think everybody watches Suicide Squad, and they already know that they're going to get Margot Robbie, who plays Harley Quinn, and once again, she does a fantastic job with the character. There are a couple kind of surprise people in there.
Okay.
Michael Rooker, who you'll recognize him from Guardians of the Galaxy as Mondu.
He's also in Mallrats.
Okay.
Kevin Smith.
Okay. But he's in that, and there are John Cena does an interesting job as Peacemaker, kind of an ironic character.
I saw some video of that. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen clips and things like that with him, and it's just like it's different. But yeah, he's a pretty entertaining guy.
Yeah, I will say that I think I liked John Cena as Peacemaker better than I liked him in F9.
He's got to be better than anything I've seen him in because, I mean,
right.
I don't know. He's not the worst actor in the world, but he's not the best either.
No.
As far as like wrestler turned actors, I think The Rock is probably the best in terms of like what he's done in film, and he's has such a range of what he's done. And he can be serious, he can be comedic, he could be, whatever. But you look at John Cena, it's like if you're not playing a soldier or like some tough guy, then I can't take you seriously. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Yeah. Idris Elba is in this one too, and he plays Bloodsport. Some people think of him as being like a copycat black version of Deadshot, but he's clear. There's a lot more to him, though. Of course, they do the whole, using the daughter to manipulate him into, joining the squad. So, and then kind of interesting thing here is
Andre the Giant. Okay,
Andre the Giant. Close,
he was a good actor.
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah,
actually is the one who voices King Shark.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I had not put that together at the moment, but I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome, and I didn't realize that Vin Diesel was Groot.
Oh, you didn't?
In Guardians. Oh, I did now, but like when I first saw Guardians. And then saw Guardians 2, I hadn't realized it because I'm like, how much of that is really Vin Diesel and how much of that is editing?
Right.
Unless like he naturally can go like, and that was that noise coming out of his mouth naturally. I don't know if I believe that, but then at that point,
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Yeah. You have to admit that it would be very easy to memorize your lines.
I am Groot. It'd be funny if he's sitting there in the studio like, I am. I forgot the line. What is it?
You know it happened at some point.
I am Boot, not Boot, Vin Diesel. It's Groot. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm nervous without my family. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, when you get a chance to see it, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
I will say that if I'm giving a score for the movie, I scored it like a 9.1 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I personally liked it. My family was less enthusiastic about it. It is quite gory, and it is a bit dark. But if you like irreverent, like if you like things a lot like Deadpool, where they see the line and they jump over it, yeah, that's exactly what this movie did. It just simply it pushed every boundary they could, and they earned that R rating. But it was, I found it entertaining and interesting.
It seems like it's something I would really like. My question is, has it any connection to the first one at all, or is it really kind of a reboot, like a completely reset? Because I've heard different things.
I mean, you still have Amanda Waller, and you still have Harley Quinn, and you still have Rick Flag, but the rest of the team is essentially brand new. And they're doing the same kind of thing that they did in the first movie, that they're using the team in order to stop a foe that is dangerous, and they don't necessarily expect any of them to come back. So anyway, I thought it was good. I definitely thought that not like
Deadpool. Me.
I know. Now, like I said, it was controversial in my house.
It seems like it.
Yeah, I know. My wife's calling me out live.
Yeah, live on Facebook. It's like, how dare you?
Right. You know what? Hey, we've got a pretty cool relationship. In fact, my wife and I are celebrating 21 years married on the 19th of this month.
Oh wow!
Congratulations. She's free to have whatever opinions she wants, as long as it includes her, putting up with me. So,
for sure.
But I love you, hon. As far as other important dates, Steve, I know you just had an important birthday yesterday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just turned 35 yesterday, and
how did we get this far into the show and not talk about your 35th birthday?
I don't know, and I didn't even treat it like anything special, because I think at one point, I can't say if everybody's like this, but a lot of people I know, after a certain point, you just like kind of stop not caring about birthdays, but you kind of get to the point where you're just like, eh. And, that's where I got all the comics. Like, I bought all this stuff myself.
Right.
They weren't gifts, but the gift was like my uncle, we like drove down to Tennessee and rode around all day and all this and that. That was kind of like the thing. He helped me make that day happen.
That
was cool. Got to see my mom while I was down there and all that. And I don't know, it's just a fun day. And it wasn't like a big special thing where it's like 35. It seems like a big deal. In a way, it's one of those milestone years, I guess, but it's kind of like halfway on the gas tank of life. That means 35 is halfway to death. No, I don't want to look at it that way. Thank you for the happy birthday. And okay, we have another one popping up. Now it's going to be a bunch of like people popping up.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun. I didn't really advertise it too much. And just because I kind of forget sometimes that, like, even on my birthday, I'm like walking around all day. I'm like, oh yeah, because not that it's like that. Sounds kind of sad. It's like, oh, you forgot. Oh, nobody. No, it's not sad that I forgot my own birthday. It's just like, not that I hate birthdays. I don't have any kind of like sadness tied to birthdays. It's just, I don't know. I don't think about it as much. The magical like excitement and all that stuff as a kid, where it's like, ooh, cake and presents. Like, I don't know.
I will say, I know I had my 40th birthday a couple years ago, and that was a lot of fun. We had probably maybe 40 or 50 people over. This was pre-COVID, and 40 or 50 people over. And my wife had asked me if I wanted to do like a theme party, and I said yes. Let's do a superhero party. And so everybody showed up wearing some type of costume or T-shirt. It was great. And of course, my brother, being who he is, he had handcrafted like a Wolverine mask for himself. Nice. I think he had even made like adamantium claws. And then he had also made a Captain America helmet and a shield.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he became so handy as far as with, making costumes. I think perhaps maybe he's been secretly plotting to become a vigilante or something.
Yeah, he needs to make us costumes, and we could be like a podcasting hero duo.
Right.
It's like Batman and Robin, but instead of fighting crime, we go, all right, Robin, we're here at the pod cave. And it's like
the pod cave.
I don't know.
That actually isn't a bad idea. I'm heading to the pod cave, which I think is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot better than, honey, I'm going to record for the podcast. Don't make any noise. Right? I'm heading into the pod cave.
You have poles you have to slide down, and when you come out, you have headphones on.
Oh,
It's like,
you know what's terrible is I could say, instead of you saying I'm going to the bathroom, I'm heading into the pod cave.
yeah. Welcome to maybe that's the name of the show, like the pod
Right.
cave.
The pod cave. Yeah.
But only if we were dressed as Batman and Robin the whole time.
I know. I think we're going to have to kind of, think about this and kind of get back to people about that. Let's not make any rash decisions.
Yeah, see, now there's
and masks
coming in. We need masks.
Yes.
So Corey should make us costumes.
I think so.
And
wardrobe.
then podcasting costumes.
Yes.
Okay, so he says the movie Mystery Man was based on my life.
It really was. You're that. I think Corey is either the forkler, or he's the guy that the guy who farts.
Right. And what about who was it? Was it Kel Mitchell? I think that played from Nickelodeon. That played I forget his character's name, but
he was invisible.
Only when no one was watching.
Right.
And so that was like. And nobody knew it, like, oh, that doesn't work. That is not real. And then he saves the day. It's like because of him, it was real. But no one could be looking, and he had to be naked.
Yes.
It's like the goofiest of circumstances. But it is what it is.
Such a silly movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Good. Yeah.
And the farting guy, that was Paul Rubens with Pee Wee Herman.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
That was interesting.
And then, of course, you have Ben Stiller.
Yeah, so many good people in that movie.
Oh yeah.
I wish they did more with that.
I know. Well, talking about teams that I love, the Titans. Titans season 3 starts this week, so I know that I'm really excited about that.
That starts this week. I'm gonna have to get HBO again, and I'm gonna have to get Disney again.
Yeah.
Now Suicide Squad? That's not on. That's like a premium thing, right? It's not on. It's regular streaming for Disney.
See, Suicide Squad is on
not
HBO
Disney.
Max.
I don't know why I said Disney. That's what I was thinking of.
It's HBO Max, and it doesn't cost anything.
Okay.
If you've purchased or if you've got HBO Max.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to get HBO Max again.
Yeah,
I have an account. I just need to renew it.
Right.
Because I had watched everything I needed to watch up to that point. Finished up Titans, watched that, nothing left. And now Titans and Suicide Squad, and there's more stuff coming. So
yeah, I feel like I'm just excited about the third season here of Titans. The first thing we know is that Jason Todd, who plays the new Robin, ultimately turns into Red Hood. Right. And they list here Donna Troy, who had died at the end of season 2, and they list her as a member of the main cast. So apparently she doesn't stay dead. So that sounds pretty cool.
Wow. I'm excited for Red Hood. I really am.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really cool part here. I think he's going to feature heavily in this story. And then I think that they're introducing Barbara Gordon.
Cool.
So it'll be cool to have her character in the show.
Now, I wonder at what point she comes in. If it's like an origin, if she comes in as Batgirl, or if she comes in as Oracle, or if she just comes in as Barbara Gordon without any ties to any of that.
I don't know. I feel like I'm still kind of waiting. They don't tell me all the information that's here.
Right. It's going to be interesting either way, though, to see what they do with the character. Because it might be the first live-action Barbara Gordon since... What, did we even have one? Wasn't that... And was it Batman Forever? Like the movies with the terrible, terrible movies? Was that that was Batgirl. That was Barbara Gordon, right?
It was.
That movie was horrible, but like she was okay in it.
I mean, again, I liked Alicia Silverstone, but I despised that movie. It was the absolute worst rendition of Batman.
Yeah, I think it was Batman. Was it Batman Forever, or was that Batman and Robin? Batman and Robin too. The both of those. I want to watch him again just because. But like, it was like bat nipples. I can't get past that.
Yeah, it really was a joke. It was pretty bad. I hadn't minded it. I hadn't minded the third one, though I'm not a big Val Kilmer fan. But that fourth one was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, and then the last one too, like Mr. Freeze, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like I don't know. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been better suited as Bane. You know, he's already got the size. They could have just put a mask on him. It's like
he would have, but I don't think that he could have pulled off a Spanish accent.
No, I mean they could have twisted the character's origins a little bit, maybe, or his history. That would have been more believable to have this like Arnold Schwarzenegger being Bane than him being Mr. Freeze. I picture Mr. Freeze out of his suit as some scrawny little like nothing guy, you know. But I don't know. It's like the best as far as Batman villains in the live action movies. I think was Danny DeVito's Penguin. But then you look at, well, maybe not the best. Jack Nicholson's Joker is pretty good, and so they're kind of tied in my opinion. But then the worst would be Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze.
I agree. I think for me, I really, really like what they did with Selena Kyle as Catwoman.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought she did a fantastic job on that character.
She did.
Sexy, slinky, athletic. I think that perfect blend, I think, of playful and lethal. I really like that about her.
It still bugs me that basic cats could give her superpowers, but we're not going to get into that.
Well, and again, that is sort of the way things go, you know, in DC, that you have, you know, people fall off bridges and get mixed in chemicals and get struck by lightning. You know, it's not as crazy as it sounds when you compare with all of the other origin stories that we see. That's
true. Like I could sit here and say that a guy getting superhuman speed because he accidentally got covered in chemicals while getting hit by lightning is more realistic than a woman becoming cat-like.
But we know in the real world that if you get covered in chemicals and struck by lightning, you die.
You're dead,
right? You don't get superpowers. You know, and if you somehow come in contact with some, you know, strange green space rock from another planet, you know, you don't get superpowers. You get, you know, you get
Cancer.
Horribly sick and die. Yeah, you get leukemia. You know, so at some point we have to kind of suspend disbelief and say, okay, I accept that somehow, some way, these cats, you know, activated the crazy in this lady, making her think that she really was a cat herself.
Yeah, and I always assumed that like those cats had been rolling around in those chemicals from earlier in the movie, and then they kind of like were soaked into them, and they were these weird like kind of mutated cats anyway. That's what I tell myself.
Right. Whatever it takes. I did want to ask you, who is your favorite Titan?
I know when we talked about season 1, I think, you know, Dick Grayson was my favorite. But now after watching season 1 and 2 and going into the future season 3 here, I don't know. I like the idea of Red Hood because I loved some of the comics that I read. I don't know if they're going to go in that direction story-wise and how he gets to be Red Hood, you know, because, you know, in the comics, Robin is essentially killed by the Joker.
Yeah.
And then he's not dead all along, and he's mad at Batman because Batman left him for dead, thinking he's dead, and he comes back as Red Hood to fight against Batman, and then this whole thing. And so that's really interesting. So that could be my favorite going into it. That's the one I'm most excited about, probably. But as far as current ones, I kind of think Raven is my favorite.
Okay.
Because the way she's got the new, like, the gem on her head and, like, the darkness and, like, the cloak that I've seen, like, in the pictures, like, that looks like it's shaping up to be, like, a really cool character. Like, it already is, but she's understanding the powers more. So it's like, oh, wow, okay.
I've really enjoyed Rachel as Raven. I think that there's a that she really does blend the two sides of her personality. That very innocent girl that needs to be protected, and yet you see that darkness that she has inside of her. And so I really enjoy that. She's definitely not the Teen Titans version of Raven.
No, not at all. And none of the characters are like the Teen Titans versions, but like Beast Boy, maybe he's the closest because he's just like, meow, I'm a tiger. And then I want to see him become more than a tiger, which I think that'll happen eventually. But
we know that he can. I think that we had seen at the end of season 1 that he had turned into a snake.
That's true. Yeah.
But yes, I think that he's sort of, the tiger is like his comfort animal. But I'm sure, I'm willing to bet that he's going to end up shifting into different forms this season.
I want to see if he gets shifted to a person, like an actual another human being, which would be really cool. But if he's green the entire time, they're going to be like, "Oh, they're going to know who it is."
Yeah, but, that is the hitch, is that all of them have to be green, so he doesn't really blend in very well.
Right. So maybe he could be trying to think of what animals are green. Grasshopper, and a grasshopper.
Right.
He could be a grasshopper, a giant grasshopper, praying mantis. There we go. There's two.
Yeah. I do like what Brenton Thwaites does though with Nightwing. I think that watching, I think there's a real he really becomes the heart of the team. You know, that he kind of steps up, and just as he had been mentored by Bruce Wayne, he kind of ends up taking on that position, I think, for everybody else.
Yeah, and I would want to see more Bruce Wayne too.
Yeah, Ian Glenn is from Game of Thrones. Plays that character. I just absolutely adore him. He's great. I think he just brings this real sense of, there's like gravitas, I guess would be the word that I'm looking for. So he's fantastic. I really like what he does with the character. Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that, like, we haven't had a weird glitch like we did last week. I probably just cursed this though.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it. No. It's sort of like when you brag about how there's no traffic on the freeway, and then all of a sudden you end up stopped. You know, better to just like not say it at all.
Yeah, I think out loud too much. I'm just like, ooh, listen, Tommy. Shut up, thoughts. Yeah, I'm excited for a lot of stuff coming up. I'm really excited about Clerks 3. I know it won't be out till next year, and part of me wants to hop on a plane and go up there, but I know that I can't because, number one, don't have the money. Number two, I get up there, they're like, leave, kid. We don't want you here. So I'm like, oh, then I'll be all sad. But I'm excited for that movie. Probably more as much as anything else.
Yeah, I think you still need to go and plan that California trip.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Like, want to go to Northwood Pizza? I don't think there's an episode of this show since we've met those guys that we have not mentioned that place.
I know.
But I want to go to Northwood Pizza for real, and a few other places too. You know, there's a lot of places in California that, you know, in that general part of the state that I want to go to. I just don't know how much of it I would get to see all in one trip. But I think California is going to be one of those like more expensive flights because I looked into it and there's like 2 connecting flights. So it's like 3 flights all the way around, 6 if you count the return. So that's going to be an expensive trip. So I'll have to save for a little while.
Yeah.
I think it was ranging, like on the lower end, it was like 800, and then on the higher end, like 1,1300, depending on, you know, different options and things like that.
That's a little higher. I mean, we always fly Southwest.
Well, that was just like general like quotes that like popped up, and plus it's the summertime, so the current rates are going to be a lot higher than say like October or something like that. Which if I go, I would want to go in like a more fall month anyway.
It's really nice here in the fall and in the spring.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I would like to do. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but maybe. $800 though. I was like, what? Because it's like I forget where it comes from here to somewhere else, and then I forget where that was, but then it goes to Denver, and then from Denver to California, and I was like, and that was just like a general thought, just to see like what it would cost me to get from here to here, and that was of course going into LA at LAX,
right?
So like that was going to be higher anyway, but just to get a general idea of like that whole trip and how many like flights it would take. I know there's not a direct flight from North Carolina to California, so. But we do have flights up from here to New York, from here to Orlando, from here to Fort Lauderdale, from here to Denver. Like, there's a lot of big city flights that come out.
Yeah.
But no California. So it'll take 2 or 3 trips, and especially if it's a round trip, it'll be higher because of course you got to fly back and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be my first trip ever, or if I'm going to do like a shorter trip. And I was looking into flying to Charlotte, North Carolina, which just for fun one day, which is like a couple hours from here. And so like it seems kind of ridiculous to spend $200 or $300 on a flight to fly for basically what ends up being 20 minutes of time in the air. You mean the whole flight itself takes about an hour. That's with like getting boarded and waiting and then pushing back and then like waiting and then taking off and then the whole process, getting landing and all that. The whole entire thing is about an hour. And so the actual flight time is like 20 minutes. Like that would be ridiculous to pay that much money to just fly for 20 minutes.
Generally, those shorter trips don't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably get a pretty good deal on the short trip.
Probably. And somebody told me when I was working last, it was on Friday, that I threw out the idea of like, I wonder if we get discounted flights. Because I'm just an employee. I'm not an employee of the airport itself, just of the business that's in the airport. So, but I still was told that we get some sort of flight discount. Now, it can't be that great of a discount. It can't be like 75% off or anything like that. That'd be awesome.
But even 10% would be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, my guess is probably in the 5 to 10% range.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I don't know.
I'd take it.
Yeah. I mean, 10% off, say the flight is $300. That's $30 off. You know, that's a pretty big deal. And that $30 could pay for like a bag checking fee or whatever. And that's another thing. This is a whole new world for me as far as like flying and all these little fees and things you got to really pay attention to, because you're like, oh, the flight could be $100, but then you've got all these fees, and it ends up being like $300, and the flight is the cheapest part about it, and like all these other things add up to be more.
It's really not that bad.
No, it's just new. It's just all these little things to think. And I was talking to somebody a while back, and the idea of like saving as much money as possible, get on the flight, no luggage, have a phone and a charger, cram the charger and the phone in my pockets, and that's it. Of course, have my wallet and stuff like that, but have no clothes, no luggage. Get to where you're going. Go to like a local like Goodwill or something like that and buy a bunch of cheap clothes. If you're staying in a hotel with laundry, wash them. Wear the clothes while you're on your trip, and when you go to leave, your clothes are washed. So wear what you wore to town back home, and leave take all those clothes back to Goodwill or something and donate them again. And then that way you don't have to carry any luggage.
We've done, the very light travel where you basically pack your carry-on, mm-hmm. and that's what you wear. I still need a bag,
Yeah.
But that is certainly one clever way to do it. So you don't have to worry about. I mean,
it's weird, but I mean, like, you could. I mean, you're renting clothes at some point at that point. Like, but they do it for suits and dresses and stuff. Why not do it for regular like t-shirts and jeans? I don't know. I thought that would be a goofy way to do it, but you can buy 2 or 3 sets of clothes for like $20 or $30 at a place like that. So, but then you're paying like, I think some hotels like charge you a fee for washing clothes and stuff. I don't know. I've never used a hotel that washed your clothes for you, but it could be fun. I don't know. Yeah. There's different ways to go about it. I think the flights I was looking into allowed one carry-on bag, and some of them allowed like nothing, no carry-on, nothing. And I was like, well, those are cheaper. But I was like, well, I don't know. I'd want to take at least one bag with me, because then like the checking, like bag check fees, luggage fees are like what $30 or $40 a bag or something. I'm like, geez. But then the other ones had one carry-on bag and then let you have a personal item. And that was defined as like a backpack or a purse or whatever. As long as it fits under these dimensions and it can fit under the seat, that could be your personal item, and then your bag that you can fit in the storage. I could fit all my clothes I needed in something like that.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have to like go through baggage claims and stuff.
Yeah. Usually that's the easiest way to do it is if you can just simply have a carry-on. That would be pretty easy. I will tell you that if you ever plan the trip, again, you got a place to stay here in California. So.
And it looks like I'll need to fly Southwest because two check-in bags are free. And then so I have a washroom you can. That's for the hotel thing with the laundry. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't use Southwest because they're the ones that wouldn't let Kevin Smith fly. But no, I think they're over that. There was a little fuss about that like years ago.
Oh, really?
Where they essentially like he was pretty big at that point weight-wise, and he had gained a lot of weight and before he started his like health changes, and he got on a flight and they charged him for they were going to try to charge him for 2 seats, and they were essentially telling him, and he tells a joke. He's like, "Yeah, I was too fat to fly," and they didn't kick him off, but they were trying to charge him for a second seat, and that was a big stink, and it was Southwest. But I think they got past that. I think they forgave each other or whatever. But it was in the news for a while. Not the news, like it wasn't like a globally known thing, but it was
right.
It was a deal, but that wasn't me, so I don't really hold it against them. I'm kind of joking when I say that.
I've heard other airlines doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah,
and it's jacked up, but they're a business. If they can't sell the seat you're in because you're half on it, then they're losing money.
That's true.
So that said, I don't have to pay for 2 seats when I get on an airplane.
I would almost want to, just so I wouldn't have to sit next to someone I didn't know.
Yeah,
if you had the money.
Yeah, but generally people don't have the money to buy an extra seat,
right,
to keep somebody else from sitting in it.
I wonder if you bought 2 seats, if you can carry. If you had like, well, I guess there's still limits for carry-on items. I was gonna say like if you bought 2 seats, if you could take like an extra bag and like sit there, like, oh yeah, I paid for the seat, you know. But they probably wouldn't let you do it because you might put bombs in that bag.
Well, they're not going to let you on the plane if you've got bombs.
Well, you can make them while you're on the plane. And then, no. I know these, they're going to see, the FAA and all these people are going to see
Oh my
this
gosh, you're never going to
travel
again, Steven, if you talk like that.
I'm going to be on the no fly. I'll go to work tomorrow and they're going to be like, you're on the no, you can't be on federal property at all. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't joke like that.
No. I didn't say I was going to do it. I just, okay, I'm going to stop now.
There we go. We don't want to ruin anything. So I think we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Did we mention about Great Geek Debates? I know there are our friends over at Great Geek Debates. They had us on for their show last week. We talked about Superman and Lois.
I had that up, the link to that episode, but I don't know what I did with it. It's not there anymore.
Okay, maybe we could just should we share that on our Facebook page and on our YouTube?
Yes,
and also with our Twitter.
Yes, you need to follow them. It's Great Geek Debates on Twitter, and it was a fun time. I haven't gone back and watched it and to see how they've edited it yet, because we talked for about, I guess overall show time we talked for about an hour, and they fitted it down to like what worked for them, and I'm excited to kind of watch that and see how it went and how it works. I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, they make us look good, because I'm like, I have no worries about any of that. It's because it's their show and their voice. Like they have the right to put out whatever product they want to put out. So I'm excited to watch it. And it's weird to watch myself sometimes because I'm like, oh, shut up. Why are you still talking about bombs? But
it would be great to reach out to them though, and maybe schedule them to come and join us for an episode.
Yeah, for sure. It would be a different environment for them, probably, because they're used to recording and editing and everything. And we're not. So I don't know. Maybe if they would want to do a live show, but we definitely need to ask them. So if you're watching, because I know they kind of watch sometimes. So if you guys are watching, then you want to come on and do the same thing on this show, and then maybe you can keep me from talking about. I'm not gonna say it anymore. Things you shouldn't take on a plane.
Right.
But as far as Twitter goes, we can throw up our Twitters and stuff like that. Copy and paste this. I always have the file open. I have this notepad file, and I just leave it open when we're doing the shows so that I can easily get to it without too many clicks. And eventually I'll remember all these names actually I remember most of it by heart anyway, but typing it all up in the moment is hard to do.
I can imagine.
But you can follow Mark Guggenheim, who's a sponsor of the show. I keep in touch with Mark on a regular basis. I emailed him the other day. I was like, hey, we should talk about the troll hunters and stuff and like whatever, because he's promoting that right now too. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And Green Lantern coming up and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get him on here again at some point soon, talking about that. I noticed I follow him personally on Twitter, and our show Twitter follows him and all that. And I was watching I saw where he was just on another podcast, and I got a little jealous. I'm like, he's supposed to be
right.
But no. So it's cool. So I'm happy to see that he's kind of like, he's a good dude. He'll go on all these podcasts and stuff. Actually, I know what I did was I reached out to him to ask him if he'd be interested in talking about Crisis again. But in this time, talk about the stuff they didn't do that may have been planned or may not have been planned. I saw a video that Paige did on YouTube talking about it because Mark Guggenheim tweeted a picture of the planning board.
Yeah.
On the wall in one of the writers' rooms at Warner Brothers, and it was still there from Crisis like a year ago, and it was still on the board. And he tweeted it out, and then people were making videos and talking about it. And I was like, "Ooh, that would be a fun conversation to see. Is it declassified yet? Can we talk about it? Like, it's not going to happen again. So can we dive into what could have been? That would be a fun what if, which is coming. What
it
if?
Is, yes.
So that would be fun to do that. But yeah, you can follow him at M Guggenheim. You can follow us at Pod and Hard Place, and follow at CJ Kirk 1979 and at Stephen_Colton. And that's all of our stuff. We're getting more involved in YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube URLs and web links don't work the same way. I noticed. Like when you copy and paste it, it's like youtube.com/?channel_... 24242424. I'm like, why? Why can't we say youtube.com/Between the Pod and the Hard Place? Boom. And if you type that in, it goes to nothing. I tried it, and I was like, dang. It's not as easy as Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah. But, so maybe we just have to kind of drop it as a link in the comments or something.
Yeah. If I drop it in the link, let's see here. Let me pull it back up again. I had the page up a minute ago, but I don't know. Like it's crashed. That's not our channel.
Hey, it's Danielle here. Really great news.
I have YouTube. Go away from this video.
Finally, back in stock.
It's one of those. Okay, come on now. Your channel. Good. There it is. That was weird. I mean, I have YouTube bookmarked on the top of my browser, and every time I click on it, it goes to some random video, and I'm just like, that's not what I wanted. But I will copy and paste this link again. It is a very, very weird link. No, not paste. I pasted the Twitter into that. I'll get it together in a second.
Okay.
But what I just did was instead of copying the YouTube link, I pasted the Twitter handles into that. So here we go. If you're watching this on Facebook, you can go back and look at the comment section and click this link. If not, take about 7 minutes to write this down with a pen and paper and pause the video, write it down, go to it, whatever. I just really wish
you could just take a picture of it on your phone.
Yeah.
And that would work too.
Screenshot it somehow, whatever, or hold it up and let someone else write it down for you.
But if you just go to YouTube and type in Between a Pod and a Hard Place,
yeah,
we pop up and you can go and subscribe to us there too.
You'll see the older style logo that I made before the one with us before the sticker design. It's just a classic old world with a microphone in front of it. You'll see that.
Can we get that updated?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't know why I haven't changed it yet. I need to do that very soon. And I'm kind of toying around with the one on Twitter too and Facebook. But the one on Facebook I put up has us, and then it has like the web information or whatever below the picture. But I realized in the picture that those words are way too hard to read. They're tiny. So
yeah, and it's oddly off center.
It is. See, I looked at that. It's because of the fact I think that Facebook does the circular like profile thing,
right?
And so in my head it was square, and it circles it. It makes it weird. So I'm just going to go back to that design. I love the sticker design. People seem to like it.
The sticker's great.
I need to make more of those. I want to get more eventually, and I'll maybe take a round. Yeah, see,
I've got mine right here.
I've got one on the side of my computer. I'm not going to show it because it's just a stick. You just showed the sticker, so it's the same sticker. I haven't put one on my car yet, but I have it. I just keep forgetting to throw it on there.
Yeah, I've got one on my car, and then I've also got one in my office at work. So.
And I left 3 at a Goodwill randomly.
Nice.
I was like, boom, 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 put them in 3 different spots. And right after that, we got more YouTube subscribers. So, who knows?
Maybe you're onto something.
But one thing I almost forgot to do, I wanted to mention, I don't have the business card on me. It's over in my wallet somewhere. But I wanted to, when we were talking about the events of yesterday and buying the comics and the toys, I wanted to mention the Facebook page for this toy store and this flea market in Tennessee that I went to. And I know some people watching this in like California or Arkansas or wherever you are, you're going to be like, I don't know where Tennessee is. I'm never going to go there. But for the people that are local to here, to North Carolina, and some are in Tennessee, for those of you that are, you could maybe give them a visit. Or if you're ever in the area, if you're ever running through there, and if you hear banjos, you went too far.
Right.
You might be in Kentucky by that point. No offense to Kentucky. I love your chicken. But those guys you can see their Facebook at facebook.com/memorylane-toybox. They have the most impressive selection of action figures, Funko Pops. I mean, this is like classic toys too, like Transformers, literally from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Originals.
The good ones.
Yeah, and some are in boxes from the 80s. And $1,400, you know, this and that. I mean, the value is legit. Like, it's there. It's unopened from 1986 or whatever year. And it's on the shelf. And it's like, there it is. I can have that right now. And they have more modern stuff, too. That's where I got Supergirl.
Nice.
And so, and her arm was broken. And I think I'm showing the microphone. Like, the microphone's here. The camera's here.
Right.
But, yeah. So I got that one, and it was a deal. I got this for $10, and normally they're like $20 or $30. So a lot of great figures of all kinds. I mean, you'll find Star Wars, wrestling figures, superheroes, like everything. So I just wanted to give them a shout out because I don't know how many people that listen to this or watch this show are anywhere near there. But if you have friends or family near there, tell them about it. It's you can look them up on Facebook. All their information's on there. So. Those guys are cool.
All right. Sounds great. Well, hey, this has been, I think, a fun episode. We've talked about just about everything. And I'm looking forward to watching all of those shows. Superman and Lois, Stargirl, Titans. And if you haven't seen Suicide Squad number 2, I think you're going to love it.
I need to watch all that. I need to get HBO again. I might wait a couple of weeks to get it. Not getting paid every single week kind of stinks in that way because you're just like, oh, I'm waiting for that next one. But eventually, that's the plan. I'm going to get everything back on. And watch all those shows, and I have plenty of stuff to watch now. And I think Legends came back on tonight, right? Or is that next week?
I think it's tonight.
So tomorrow I'll be watching that. But yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, this has been fun, and as always, and follow us on Twitter. I already did all that. Never mind. We already went through that whole speech. Oh, I'm not used to ranting after that. Sorry. All right. Well, take it easy, and we'll talk next week, I guess.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Good night.
See you.